Ever feel like life throws you these curveballs and you're like stuck playing a hand you never wanted? Well, today we're diving deep into this really cool book, Juega bien tus cartas, which means play your cards right.
Oh, I love that.
It's by professional poker player Leo Margets. And get this, we're going to learn how to up our game in life from her, even if we've never touched a deck of cards.
What I find fascinating about Margaret's book is how she takes this like high stakes world, professional poker strategy, all that,
Mm,
and makes it relevant to, everyone, the decisions we all face every single day.
totally. And we're not talking about like your friend who hosts poker night.
Yeah.
Leo Margets is top ranked, like world-class tournament.
The real deal.
Yeah, the real deal. But it's cool how she connects poker to like these everyday choices, business deals, relationships, even just like navigating some awkward situation.
Mhm.
And her book is full of stories that bring those lessons to life.
It's brilliant because so many people think poker is all luck, like hitting the jackpot, like you said.
Oh, totally.
But Margaret's, she really breaks that myth down right away,
Yeah, how many times have you heard like, oh, it's all on the cards you're dealt?
all the time.
But she calls that luck hold'em, basically saying that's not real poker.
Yeah. Real poker, it's a whole different game.
Okay, so what is real poker then?
So real poker is about strategy. It's about betting strategically, reading your opponents, knowing when to hold back, when to go all in. All those skills really make a difference.
It's like she compares it to tennis in the book, I think.
Yes.
Like even if the wind throws you off a bit, if you make a bad shot, that's still on you. Your skill or lack thereof, right?
Exactly. It's the same in life. We actually have way more control than we think. We're not just like these passive players.
At the mercy of fate.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's bring this to our listeners. Think about an area of your life where you're feeling stuck, like it's all down to chance. Could be a job interview, some financial
And
thing.
tough decision you're making.
Yeah. Or even that project you're unsure about. What if, instead of stressing about the unknowns, we could look at it like a poker player would?
That's where Margaret's idea of expected value comes in, or EV. It can really change the game, and not just in poker.
So I'll admit, when I first saw expected value, I thought, oh, great, here comes the math.
You're right.
But the way Markets lays it out, it's actually super useful.
It really is. It's about making smarter choices, basically.
Yeah.
Taking probability into account instead of just like fixating on the best possible outcome or the worst possible outcome.
Right, which we all do.
Well, which we all do. It helps you find the best way forward, even when you can't predict the future, obviously.
Right.
Because you can't.
And I love how she uses a coin flip to explain it. Like, even if you knew the coin was rigged, there's still an expected value you can figure out to, like, improve your chances in the long run.
That's what's so cool about EV. It helps you cut through all the noise, all the what ifs.
So it's not about, like, getting rid of risk because that's impossible, right?
Right.
It's more like understanding it, managing it, like a poker player going all in, but only when the odds are in their favor.
Yes. And speaking of managing risk, that takes us to another big theme in the book, patience. It's funny, right? We talk about patience, but in poker, like life, it's not just like a passive thing.
Right. It's not just, like, sitting there waiting.
Exactly.
It takes, like, serious discipline to fold, maybe for hours,
Yeah.
just waiting for the right hand.
And waiting for that perfect opportunity.
It reminds me of being stuck in traffic.
Yeah.
And all you want to do is H-O-N-K.
Yes. Or like refreshing a website over and over again.
Totally.
We've all done it. But Margaret's point is real patience is about like fighting that urge. It's about controlling your emotions. So when that perfect hand does come, you're ready.
You're not, like, thrown off by every little thing.
Exactly.
She talks about playing the long game, right?
Yes.
Not getting caught up in little wins or losses,
Yeah,
but keeping your eye on the bigger picture.
exactly. And she talks about this thing called tilting, which is when your emotions get in the way, like after a bad beat.
Oh, we've all been there.
In life, for sure.
Making decisions when you're angry, frustrated, scared even.
A lot of the time.
Oh, yeah. I actually, this is embarrassing. I once broke up with someone after a Monopoly game.
We've all been there, in our own ways.
Okay, maybe not that extreme,
Definitely not.
but, that's why I love her advice, because she gives you this way to see those moments where you're about to, like, tilt.
Totally.
And maybe, just maybe, you can, like, channel your inner poker player and make a better choice.
It's about self-awareness, which leads us to another fascinating thing about poker that Margets talks about. Observation.
This is where I wish I could, like, read minds.
Right.
But you don't have to be psychic or anything.
No.
Poker players can't see the future, but they get really good at reading people.
It's about paying attention to what's called the metagame.
Oh, here we go.
So it's not just about the cards you have. It's what your opponent thinks you're thinking.
Oh, okay. So it's like a game within the game.
Exactly. Strategy, psychology, like all these layers.
Gotcha.
And observation is key. Poker players, they watch everything. Tells, betting patterns, even like body language when it's not their turn.
So they're always picking up information.
Always.
It's like Sherlock Holmes at the poker table.
Yeah.
This reminds me of that part in the book where Margets, she offers her opponent a Cardew on the rocks. Very specific drink. And it's like this little nod to something they both experienced before.
It's the subtle signal
Yeah, exactly.
that only they would understand.
And it works
Right.
because of that shared history. It creates this connection.
Even if it's just for a moment, that's the power of it.
It makes you realize those tiny little details, they can mean a lot, even in everyday life.
Absolutely. A hesitation, a change in someone's voice, how they're sitting.
It's all information.
All clues.
It's what someone's really thinking.
Yeah.
Wow. So much going on beneath the surface.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder what you miss when you're not paying attention.
Right. And that's where this poker player mindset helps. Being observant.
It's not about being manipulative, right?
Yeah. No, not at all.
Just more aware of like the unspoken things happening in any conversation.
Becoming a better listener, a better communicator, even more empathetic, I think.
Absolutely. And isn't that what we all want? Deeper connections.
For sure.
Okay, so we've got strategy, patience, observation. But there's another thing Margets talks about, something I think a lot of us, especially women, are told to like shy away from.
What's that?
Confidence. It's funny, right? Because like we're told confidence can be a bad thing.
Especially for women. It's like this double standard.
Totally. But in Margets' book, she's like, no, it's essential in poker, in life.
It's about like really believing in yourself, trusting your gut, knowing you can figure out a situation, even if you don't have all the pieces.
Because let's be real, we never have all the information.
Right. Never. But it's not about being like cocky either.
Right.
Margets talks about self-awareness too, being able to admit when you're wrong.
Oh, yeah. Adjusting, changing your strategy.
Exactly. She said like she used to get attached to certain hands, didn't want to fold even when like the odds were against her.
We all have those moments, though, that stubborn streak.
Totally. But learning to let go, that takes strength, humility even.
It does. And courage, right?
Yeah.
To be like, okay, I messed up.
Yes. And then, fix it. She says even the best poker players, they lose sometimes.
It's not about winning every hand.
Exactly. It's about making smart choices over and over.
Playing the long game. This reminds me of that story she tells about joining the choir in school. She loved to sing, but she wasn't, like, very good.
Oh, no.
And the teacher basically told her to, like, mouth the words during performances.
Oh.
Can you imagine? But here's the thing. She didn't let it crush her.
Oh, wow.
She kept singing because she enjoyed it.
I love that.
And that, I think, that says a lot about her.
It does, her resilience.
Yeah, like not letting fear stop her.
It makes you think, what could we do if we were that fearless?
That's a good question for the listeners.
Yeah.
What are you putting off because you're scared of failing? What if you looked at those fears like a poker player?
What could you risk?
What could you achieve? It goes back to what Margaret said about positive expected value situations.
Yes.
And I love how she ties that to everything. The strategy, the self-awareness, managing risk. It's not about like chasing every little thing.
Right.
It's being thoughtful, knowing what you might gain, what you might lose, and then going for it with a clear head.
Because even if you don't win every time, that willingness to like stay in the game, that's what matters.
Yes, that's where the growth is.
That's how you live a bigger life.
This deep dive, it's been amazing. Margaret's book really gives you a whole new way to look at decisions.
Me too. It's crazy how much we can learn from like the most random places.
Right.
A poker player. Who knew they had life advice?
And on that note, to everyone listening, if this got you thinking, you have to check out her book, Juega bien tus cartas. It might just change your game.